The Matildas' quest for 2011 World Cup qualification is gathering momentum. Today they play highly rated DPR Korea. The victors taking a psychological advantage into the Asian Cup in May. Women's football at its finest. Australia against DPR Korea from Ballymore in Brisbane.
For the first time in over a year, the Australian women's national football team lines up on home soil against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Hello and welcome, I'm Amy Taylor. It's great to have your company. Today we watch the Matildas line up against DPR Korea in what will be a real test heading into the Asian Cup in China in May. Joining me here in the studio this afternoon is ex-Matilda Alicia Ferguson. Welcome to Ballymore. Aren't we in for a treat this afternoon?
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, it's great to be here. And after the Matildas' 2-2 draw with the Koreans on Wednesday, they'll be taking a lot of confidence into this game and looking to secure the win.
Now, DPR Korea is ranked as the highest Asian nation, number 5 in the world, in fact, up against Australia today, ranked number 14. What can we expect?
Look, I think both teams enjoy playing football, and today's conditions really are going to make that conducive to a good football match. They like getting the ball on the deck and they like playing it around, and I think it's going to be a fantastic contest.
Now, what do the Aussies have to do this afternoon to secure the victory that they couldn't quite grab on Wednesday?
Look, I think what the Matildas need to do today is they need to make sure they stay nice and tight at the back. We've got a couple of attacking fullbacks in the right and left positions, but we just need to make sure we maintain that cover because the Koreans do like to transition and break quickly. And then, of course, on the attacking side, we've got Katie Gill, who's great in the air, and obviously the pace of Sarah Walsh and Lisa Devanna to cause them some problems.
All right, well, this is all part of the process for the Asian Cup, which also doubles up as a qualifier for the 2011 Women's World Cup in Germany. Australia, well, the pools have been drawn. Here is Pool A and Pool B. Australia drawn in Pool B against Vietnam, the Korean Republic and China.
Yeah, look, definitely Group B is, as you could say, the group of death. Australia need to get a first-up win against Vietnam to build on that performance and go in against the Korean Republic and China. The Group A, I think, is a foregone conclusion, with DPR and Japan should be able to qualify through to the finals quite easily.
And of course, all the games will be on ABC TV. We see the first one there, Australia versus Vietnam on the 19th of May. That's the opening game of the tournament. Then on Friday the 21st, up against the Korean Republic. And then 2 days later, Australia versus China. We then move on to the semis. Team 1 from each pool plays Team 2 from the other. And only the top 3 teams from this tournament making it through the qualification program to the World Cup in 2011. Well, with several of the more experienced Matildas retiring this year, the current side is very much new look. Amanda Shalala caught up with the Matildas at training at the Australian Institute of Sport to find out who will be the players to watch.
The 2010 version of the Matildas mightn't be a full house, but they've still got a good hand to play. As the highest ranked card in the deck, the enigmatic yet brilliant Lisa Devanna is the ace of spades. After a career-shaping 2007 World Cup campaign, Devanna's poised to dominate at the Asian Cup.
Oh, that's out of the top draw, Lisa Devanna.
That World Cup definitely changed my life. It taught me a lot as a person, you know, how to deal with, you know, fans and me as a player under pressure, because I felt like I was a bit under pressure at the time. But I've actually developed, and I think I've actually grown better as a player because I sort of learnt how to deal with it.
The key thing about Devanna is that she is a winner, and she is ultra competitive, and she wins games for teams. You know, she changes games.
I don't try to put that pressure on me. You know, I go out and play for, you know, my country, for myself and for the people that support me.
While Devanna is the mesmerising maestro up front, Claire Polkinghorne is the imposing queen at the back of the pack. The 21-year-old must build an impenetrable defence without the help of retired defenders Di Alagic and Cheryl Salisbury.
I've sort of been around for maybe 3 or 4 years now, so And we've had Cheryl and Di and Joe Peters retire from the game, so I think it's sort of my turn to sort of try step up and take a bit of a more leadership role within the team.
What specifically do you think you need to do to become more of a leader within the Matildas?
I'll have to try step up my communication on the field and just try to talk a little bit more to the girls and try help them out in that way.
The wild card goes to the rookie in the team, 16-year-old Sam Kerr.
Sam Kerr just takes off with great pace. Got Gill there and sees the keeper off the line. Oh, what a goal! How about that?
In 2009, the West Australian picked up the W League Players Player and Goal of the Year awards, as well as making her Matildas debut against Italy.
I was actually very shocked because I hadn't heard anything about Matildas. It was just any kid's dream who plays soccer to play for the national team, so it was a bit of a shock, and then I started to think about it. It seemed so unreal, and then just excited, I guess.
Ultimately, looking down the track, what do you hope that you'll be able to achieve in your football career?
Make the Matildas squad, have a main position in the squad, and hopefully play overseas one day, go to a few World Cups hopefully, and a few Olympics, so see what happens.
It's not all about the ladies though. Coach Tom Samani is the king in this inexperienced court.
When you are rebuilding a team and you're bringing in a lot of younger players in particular who don't have enormous international experience, there tends to be fluctuations in results. So you're often not quite sure how the team will go. And we're kind of in that phase at the moment. I think we've got some very good players. I think we've got players who will want to do well and be competitive. How results will go, I'm actually not quite sure.
To qualify for next year's World Cup, the Matildas must finish in the top 3 at the Asian Cup in May. But first, they'll have to get through the group stage, where they'll face tough opposition in China, South Korea and Vietnam.
There's no easy group. Asia's probably, outside of Europe, the most difficult place to qualify for the World Cup. And we just have to get in there and get in amongst it and qualify.
Luckily, they've got a few aces up their sleeves.
I'm here now with King of the Cards, Coach of the Matildas, Tom Samani. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Let's start with Wednesday's match. How did you sum up the girls' performance?
I'm pleased with the overall game. I think in the first half we were a little bit disorganised at 6s and 7s. Probably a bit fortunate to go in only 1 down at half time, but I think we put on a terrific performance in the second half, and the players really stepped up another notch and played very well.
Now, we're looking at the Korean first goal here, almost unmarked in defence.
Yeah, we went a bit sloppy before the actual goal came in, and the cross came in, actually got a slight ricochet, which cost us. The chance that's coming up now was one which was defended much more poorly, but we fortunately got away with it.
Now, of course, we're about to see Katie Gill Sam Kerr, in fact, take the ball, one of the young guns of the squad.
Yeah, very much a dynamic player. Sam and Katie there was just a little bit unfortunate. She just couldn't get the ball out of her feet to make good contact with it. And near half time here, it would be unfortunate to lose a goal from that kind of ricochet.
Now, we just saw Lydia Williams head on the post. Is she all right this afternoon?
She's okay. The goalpost needs some treatment, but Lydia is actually recovered well.
You have to be crazy to play there anyway, don't they say? All right, this is Katie Gill's goal. We see a long ball over the top and a little header into the corner from Katie Gill.
Yeah, terrific. And Katie has been probably the most improved player, I think, since the end of last year. She's come in and been terrific up front and is really very powerful in the air and dangerous.
And there we see the speed of Lisa Devanna now between her and Sarah Walsh up front this afternoon, something you'll be looking to exploit.
I hope so. We've got a couple of road runners there, and hopefully we can use their pace effectively.
And we see Lisa Devanna here trying to come through on the ball, but manages to take the goalkeeper out instead. Hopefully just a little bit of frustration there.
A little bit of a nudge. I think it's just the pace that Lisa was going at. I think she struggled to stop in time.
Now, you've had a lot of changes in defence, even today with a couple of injuries.
Yeah, that's probably the sort of the major question mark about the team at the moment. Savette Unzilla is out injured, and we've got Kim Carroll and Thea Slatcher. That's Savette getting injured there, fortunately not seriously. And Kim Carroll and Thea Slatcher in there, who haven't played an awful lot of football over the past period due to injury.
All right, well, here we see the scoring summary from Wednesday's international. The final score 2-2. Australia goals to Gill and Devana in the 50th and 68th minute, and 2 goals to the same player, Yun, in the 14th and 86th. A great result 2-2, considering Australia is ranked a fair few places behind Korea.
Yeah, Korea is the highest ranked Asian nation, up at number 5. They're a very tough team, very good, very quick, and we actually haven't beaten them for quite some time, and to actually get out there, get in the lead and score a couple of goals is a positive for us.
And which other players stood out for you on Wednesday?
Well, I thought, as I say, Katie Gill, I thought had an exceptionally good game. Elise Kellogg-Knight in left back, I think, is improving from game to game. Tamika Butt in midfield, you know, was mobile, causing lots of problems, and Colette McCallum as well. Colette is looking, you know, her usual classy self.
You're playing a 4-3-3 combination today?
Essentially 4-3-3. It kind of suits our system. We've got 2 quick players up front, and we've got a target player in Katie Gill.
And what is the game plan?
The game plan, win. Yes. Well, I think the key thing is we've got to be careful in the transition, because Korea go from back to front very, very quickly. I think we've got to use the ball a little bit more effectively than we did at times the other day, and we've got to also, through hopefully Colette McCallum's passes, utilise the pace we have up front.
Well, these games are, of course, all about preparation for the Asian Cup coming up in May. We'll just take a look at the 3 Australian games. You've drawn what some people call the pool of death. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it is. In Asia, there are 5, you know, big countries: the 2 Koreans, China, Japan, and ourselves. And when you go into 2 groups of 4, you either end up with 1 other big country or 2. And we've, unfortunately, again, for the 3rd time in a row, got a group with 2 of the big countries, and Vietnam, who are probably the best of the 2nd-tier countries.
Okay, well, we have a look at the other group, Group A here, with DPR Korea, who we'll see this afternoon, Japan, Myanmar and Thailand. You've got to expect Korea and Japan at the top of that pool.
Yeah, they'll lead through that pool, and not only through that pool, but not only that, but against Thailand and Myanmar, have the opportunity to rest players as well.
And you would expect to meet one of those 2 teams in the semis?
Yeah, which one I don't know at the moment, because it's fairly close between those 2 teams, so it's hard to say which of those teams will win their group, and it's also hard to say which team will win our group.
Now, of course, playing in Asia presents its own challenges. You have things like the humidity, the heat, and also the food to combat. How are you going to prepare for that? Well,
fortunately, over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been in and out of China many times. Probably to the degree where some of us pay tax in that country now. And, you know, the players, even our younger players, adapt to it very well. They've been playing in Youth World Cup qualifiers, etc. So we're actually quite comfortable getting into these countries, and we've got a really adaptable squad.
All right, Tommy, well, good luck for today. We'll let you go and get back to the girls before the game. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Well, right now there has been some big steps taken off the field in women's football. We don't have full-time professional status just yet, but several Matildas have been doing their best to change that. A leadership group, including the likes of Sarah Walsh, Heather Garriock and Captain Melissa Barbieri, recently joined up with the Professional Footballers Association to negotiate contracts that will see the girls through to the end of the Asian Cup in May.
Walsh, Barbieri and Garriock are determined to put Australian women's football on the path to professionalism. And they've started by securing contracts for 23 national squad members, which includes match payments and 6-month retainers of up to $17,000.
For the players, getting this sort of financial gain it takes a lot of pressure off, whether it comes to rents or cutting down your hours if you're a part-time or a full-time worker. is a really important thing. You can just fully focus on football.
We wanted to make sure that there was a career for women, you know, and it's not just you play football for your country and, you know, the honour is all you get. There needed to be something that we could fall back on if we got injured, you know, because you've trained all your life and then suddenly you can't play anymore and there goes your money out the window.
And what we build now is going to be for the future Matildas. So, I mean, they could have a professional league and hopefully that's where we go. And, I mean, with the contracts we just have now and, I mean, if we keep moving forward with that, it'll really set a platform for women's football.
Cheryl Salisbury helps herself to a goal, quite probably her last in her stellar international career.
The Matildas are only part of the equation. Building on the success of the W League is another key factor.
We had 20 games or a 6-month season, and also the financial benefits, as in even a decent salary for players to be full-time, if not full-time, semi-professional, so they get paid a small amount of money and also can either study and work part-time would be ideal.
Not everyone's going to play for the Matildas. Not everyone's going to play at you know, an international standard, but at least they can play at an elite level and do their club proud, and perhaps make some money on the side, you know, get an image, you know, out into the public and, you know, making children aspire to be professional footballers.
Until the W League turns professional, players like Garriock and Walsh must head overseas to earn a living. And they agree, the Women's Professional Soccer League in the United States is the benchmark.
It's been good for the players that have actually gone over there, you know, like Devana, Heather, Colette and Lydia. It's shown you where you actually need to be to play like consistently, and, you know, to bring that back here, and hopefully we can, you know, influence the other girls and, you know, just in our training environment, or even if it's just, you know, professionalism off the field. You know, it's kind of, we've seen a standard and we want to bring Australia up to that standard, and to be honest, we're not that far behind.
Where we're at the moment is huge compared to where we were 10 years ago, and even 5 years ago. We now are all on professional contracts. We're covered whether we're injured or not. We have a fantastic support network around us. Now we've got a full-time assistant coach. Obviously Tommy's our full-time coach, and just the actual support network, both medically and on the field, is unbelievable.
Despite the players' efforts off the field, they know it's on the pitch where they can really make a difference.
If we make the World Cup, you know, who knows, we might see a lot of funding coming our way, and then trying to, you know, make the Olympics as well. We're going to try and, you know, get some more funding through the government. So, you know, so many things can happen if you win.
For us, being 15th, ranked 15th is not good enough. If we can break into the top 10, which is realistic, I think, or the top 5, I think that's when people will take the game a little bit more serious in this country as well.
As head of women's football at the FFA, Leanne Grantham is responsible for overseeing the development of the game in Australia. Amanda Shalala caught up with her to ask her about the significance of the contracts that have just been signed with the Matildas that will see them paid through until the end of May.
I think it's significant to the players because it indicates to the players that the FFA is very aware that they require some professionalism around their agreements with the FFA. They have had it in the past. It's a slightly different structure to what they've had in the past, but negotiations went on between ourselves and the PFA, and the PFA have a women's committee which is made up of 5 of the Matildas, and they sit down and talk about what they require, and then the PFA come to us, and we reached quite easily a really good compromise for the players, based that we were under negotiation halfway through a financial year. So we'll go back to the PFA once we know what our proposed budgets are going forward, maybe for the next 1 to 3 years, and be able to discuss where to from here after the AFC Asian Cup.
So what is the structure of these current agreements?
Obviously there's some confidentiality around the amounts that are being paid to the players, but it's significantly higher than what they were on before. Under the requirement with the PFA, there are certain obligations that the coach needs to undertake. There are certain obligations that we need to undertake, and they are a tiered structure. So there's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and obviously those tierings are decided by the coach based on a number of criteria within the agreement, and within that criteria the coach then submits to the FFA the players that he would like in which particular tier, and we have to sign off on it. But at the end of the day, Tom Samani as the head coach is the person who needs to make those sort of judgment calls.
Aside from the financial side of things, how do you think Australia is placed in terms of professionalism compared to the Americas and the Europes?
I think we rate very well. I think Australia, not just in football but in other sport, we do it very, very well here in Australia. We have very, very good structures in place, and now it's just about improving our coaching ability, improving our playing standard. But if you look at last year, I think there was something like 7 of the W League players who went offshore and actually competed in the United States inaugural season and into Europe. And we have players that will be leaving straight after their DPR career match, heading over offshore to play in other leagues. So I think it speaks for itself. Yes, we've got a way to go, but that's what it's all about.
Well, it is the 3rd season of the W League coming up. What changes can we expect from this season?
I can't give you a definite answer. I can tell you there will be 8 teams still. I can tell you that it most certainly is my preference to see if we can go to 2 full rounds. However, with 2 full rounds comes additional cost. So we need to sit down with all of the parties and make sure that it's financially possible, because my priority, and certainly that of the FFAs, is to make sure that the league is viable and is going to be around for a long time.
Great, thanks so much, Leanne.
Oprah. She has to meet so many cool people.
I'm Sarah Jessica Parker because I love a fashion sense.
I'd actually pick myself. I'm quite content with my life, to be honest.
Angelina Jolie. Because I get to sleep with Brad Pitt.
I think I would be, because I love him to death, is Ryan Giggs, that plays for Man United. Because I've loved him since I was a little kid.
Beyonce. Because I wish I could sing and dance like she does. She's amazing. I really want to be a singer, but she's amazing the way she dances. She's so fit too, so Beyonce.
I think being an athlete and coming from an athlete's background, I've always wondered what it's like to be the rock star life and actually perform in front of people as a rock star as opposed to an athlete. So, I don't know, maybe Mick Jagger or someone big like that. Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be very cool, I think. Well, not long now to the kickoff in the match between the Matildas and DPR Korea. We are going to go to live footage, hopefully, of the girls in the change room. Alicia, what would be going through their heads right now?
Yeah, look, I'm sure there'd be a few nerves out there for the girls. It's a big game. It's a televised game. Everyone loves to be on TV. They're going to be focused in there, concentrating on what their individual jobs are within the team and also their performance as the team. We can see Bubs, she's always such fun in the change room, having a great time and keeping the mood nice and light.
We always have some very serious ones in there too. They all have different routines and different preparations. Some like it quiet, some like to have music. Right now, though, we're going down to have a look at the team sheet. This is how Australia will line up this afternoon.
So as we see, we've got Melissa Barbieri as the new captain in goals. Thea Slatcher has actually come into the team to replace the injured Savet Ozunla. And we've got Lauren Colthorpe on the right-hand side of the defence, Kim Carroll in the middle with Thea, and Elise Cullen-Knight on the left.
And here is Peter Wilkins in the change room with the new captain of the Matildas, Melissa Barbieri.
Well, on the cusp of a magnificent, tough period for the Matildas, I'd imagine, Melissa Barbieri, there's a fair amount of tension here at the moment as you move out against the number 5 team in the world.
Yeah, definitely. We're all very nervous, but Tommy's given us the game plan, and now that we've been accustomed to that, we're going to get our heads on straight and we're going to do business.
What would you like to change from the match you played midweek, the 2-2 draw, and now?
Oh, it was very tough conditions out there, so we're going to take advantage of the sleek surface. It's not as boggy as Spencer Park, but they've done a great job at Ballymore to keep it a good surface. So we're going to try and use that to our advantage, play some great through balls to Demana, to Walshy, and get ball onto heads like Katie Gill, and maybe we'll see some fruit at the end of it.
And the bigger picture quickly, is this team good enough to win in Asia and qualify for the World Cup?
Hey, we're always good enough, but you know, on our day, you know, we'll see how we go. But we're preparing here at the moment, and we're just looking at now. We're staying in the now. We do what we can here, and then we'll see what we can do for the future.
Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
And this is how their opposition, DPR Korea, looks this afternoon.
Yeah, and as we say, DPR Korea will be playing the traditional 4-4-2 formation. They tend to play a bit of a diamond formation in the midfield, and they're always going to be dangerous on the transition from defence to attack, as Tom Samani told us before.
Well, we are set for a real battle here at Ballymore today. The Matildas, a new look side up against the fast-paced and very agile Koreans.
Yeah, an exciting game, and it's going to be a great football feast. You know, we've got some quality players on show, and really the future of the Matildas is out here on show today. So let's get to it.
We will get to it. Thank you very much, Alita. Looking forward to a great match.
I actually just got back from Hawaii in between seasons last year, and that was pretty amazing, so I would have to say Hawaii.
The Greek islands, I've been there before. I love the lifestyle, I love the relaxation, I love the water, I love the beach, and I love the food.
Probably a remote island somewhere with crystal blue water, cocktails on the beach.
Anywhere that's tropical and it's just somewhere you can relax and chill out, and not really for the sun for me because my skin's no good for it, too fair, but just somewhere I can just chill out and be at a pool I'm happy with.
Probably Bali because it's so cheap and I always go to Bali. I love Bali. It's just so fun. You can do whatever you want and it's like you're a millionaire when you go there, but really you're not. It's so good.
I'm going to say Phi Phi Island. I've never been there, but it looks beautiful. The blue waters are just calling me.
I would have to say Scandinavia. I really actually quite like Stockholm, but I also love Spain, so Barcelona.
New York City, without a doubt. Yeah, love it.
And I'm lucky enough to have nabbed Australian assistant coach Robbie Hooker for a few final thoughts before kickoff. How are the girls looking?
Looking really good, actually. We've actually looked pretty good the last couple of weeks, both against the New Zealand team and also in training, so we're reasonably happy.
What are your expectations or predictions of today's match?
North Korea, traditionally for us, a very tough game. They're very well drilled, very experienced, and technically they're a little bit ahead of us at this stage. So today's game is going to be more about learning from what we did the other day, which in terms of our transition we need to improve on, so that's what we're focusing on today. So
what were the final instructions from yourself and Tommy?
Final instructions were to obviously go out and enjoy yourselves, and the game today is probably going to be a little bit quick and slippery with the pitch, although the pitch is really good. But in terms of what we want to work on, is definitely our transition from when we're attacking to defending. And you got a good warm-up under your belts? Very good, yeah, although we didn't quite need it because the conditions are quite balmy. It is very warm out there. All right, what are your thoughts on the Asian Cup? This is all about preparation for May. Yeah, it's going to be tough, the Asian Cup. We're drawn in a group with China and South Korea, and out of the 5 strong teams, we're in a group where there's 3 of them. So to get through the semi-finals, we need to at least win one of those games. Now, the North Koreans are the highest-ranked team in Asia. They are. And Japan are probably up there. Just behind them, actually. Just behind them. So we've drawn the lucky side of the group, but that means that we still have to knock off one of the other powerhouses. All right, it's a tough pool, but it's very achievable. Oh, certainly. We're going to the Asian Cup with qualification for the World Cup in our minds, and that's the only thing. All right, well, let's get through this afternoon first. Thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get back down to preparations, and please know we are all behind you this afternoon. Coming up, the crowd is filing in. We are getting set for the game between the Matildas and DPR Korea. I'll be on the sidelines, and Alicia Ferguson will join Peter Wilkins in the commentary box.
The home of rugby in Queensland is the home of women's international football today. Australia versus DPR Korea at Ballymore. And it is not sunny in Queensland as it normally is. As we know, the conditions have been pretty poor over the last few weeks and they've deteriorated here in the last half hour or so. Unfortunately, it's Murphy's Law as the two teams come out onto the field, but plenty of excitement, Alicia, as we head towards this match. What a test for the Matildas today.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity for the girls to continue their preparation going into the Asian Cup. North Korea are the top-ranked Asian team, and, you know, getting a good result here will really give them confidence going into the Asian Cup.
And the Australian team, just in the dressing room a moment ago, there was a very, very high level of tension. At one point, Tom Samani, the coach, said, gee, they're never this quiet. I think that is a testament to just how important this game is, as we see the faces etched in concentration. Five changes to the Australian team from the one that drew 2-2 midweek. Coach Tom Samani has saved a couple of heavyweights, kept them up his sleeve for this match today. But on the downside, there are a couple of injuries to the Australian team. Heather Garriock, notably, is one out today, and a couple of others too have succumbed to injury. But it is still a very, very strong Australian lineup and pretty close to the one you'd expect to see in the Asian Cup. Likewise, the DPR Korean team also will have a bit more to offer today. They might have been a bit jet lagged for that match midweek. Adapting to the heavy conditions today, they'll be right on their game.
Yeah, that's right, Peter. I mean, DPR Korea always bring a decent game of football, and yeah, it was a pretty heavy pitch that they played on Wednesday. Maybe still just finding their feet getting into the country only a couple of days prior, but today they'll be up for it and they'll want to, you know, take this game to the Australians, and the Australians really need to be on their game to stifle that attack.
And there is one of the potent forces in the team, Kim Yong-A, a veteran of more than 40 internationals. She scored 20 goals, and she is the seasoned campaigner in what is a very youthful Korean team today, the DPR Korean team, undergoing a metamorphosis as well, with injuries and retirements. And this side with an average age across the squad of just over 20 years of age. So that could be to Australia's advantage, but likewise you get that pace and youthful enthusiasm, don't you?
That's right, but look, DPR Korea have been successful at both the under-20 and the under-17 levels in women's football. So even bringing these younger players into the team, they've got that international experience. They know how to win games. And likewise with our Matildas team, you know, there's a lot of girls in there that are young in age but old in experience, which is just fantastic for the future of football.
And they're the distinctive huddle that we see across the universe, across both hemispheres in the sporting world. It's a terrific moment when you come out to play for your country and also to officiate. Sarah Hodson there, just doing a bit of limbering up, a little wry smile there, but she'll be total concentration today. You've got the number 5 team in the world against the number 14. You've got an Asian Cup coming up, and then you've got World Cup qualification resting on that. It couldn't be more tense.
It couldn't be more tense. And Peter, you know, you just talking about that is giving me goosebumps. Any international game is important to take that next step to the next level. So let's see how the Matildas can go today.
A huge match in recent times. Australia's record against DPR Korea hasn't been good. They've had a couple of draws and 3 losses in their last 5 meetings. They were beaten in the Asian Cup in 2008 in the semi-final, 3-0. And today, well, it'll be a great chance to atone, wouldn't it? And in the early stages, we're going to see some aggressive play from both teams. And we see Colette McCallum in the middle, burrowing hard for the ball and distributing, trying to find Lisa DeVanna, and Katie Gill also pressuring hard. And that's one of the aims for the team today, to try and pressure that football. Don't give the DPR Korean team room to move. And already we see Kim Chung-sing hugging the touchline on the left, and a through ball to Zoe, and a nice release too. A couple of the danger players, and already the Australians under a little bit of pressure. It was hoofed away by Kellon Knight in the end, but a little bit tentative in the early moments.
Yeah, look, the intensity of the match has started very high already, and both teams will want to impose themselves on this match. And DPR Korea, exactly what you said, Peter, the Matildas really need to close down their space and not give them the opportunity to play.
One of the danger players, Yun Hun Hee, with 2 goals midweek, both of them. The second was a little bit of a gimme, of course. But now, the first set play, it goes to DPR Korea. Right on the attack. The breeze probably not favouring any side at the moment, as the flags are limp, which is one advantage. It's Kwon Song to take the corner kick, and floating high. And the tall stature of the Australian team might favour them well. A long-range effort, and that goes wide from Kim Un-zo, a 16-year-old, one of 2 in this squad here. So that was fairly harmless, but still the Australians just coming to terms, I guess, with the pace of the Koreans earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, I think DPR Korea are going to take the pace of the game to the Australians, and we just need to settle down, get into our rhythm of play, and not be pressured into making any silly decisions or, you know, having to do things too quickly. We need to dictate the pace of the play.
Melissa Barbieri captaining the side since the middle of February, as we see the infringement. And already a change to the starting lineup, it seems, from the advertised team. No, that is one there with Ra Lin Sim on the field in the number 6 Guernsey for the Koreans. And now the sublime skills of Lisa DeVanna brought down there. She pirouettes. She's a ballerina of the turf, you could say. But defenders quite often are resorted to illegalities to keep her tenacious running at bay.
Yeah, she's a fantastic talent, has so much pace and such good close ball skills. She's always dangerous when she's running at defence.
Well, now into the air now, looking for Katie Gill, and a chance here. Oh, only a half shot could be poked towards the goal there by Kim Carroll, and now it's Korea struggling to clear. Ball comes across the centre. Lisa DeVanna can't find the space. Lisa DeVanna, and Australia now with some pressure in the early moments of this match too, and DPR Korea with a clearance that still might take a little bit of closing down. Colthorpe there, beaten by the speed of the experienced Kim Yong-a. And finally, Australia now setting Sarah Walsh alight, and a little bit of an air swing from Kwon Song, a 24-year-old, one with some experience. And now the DPR Korean team, the women's national team. They don't have a Matilda-type sobriquet. That's what they're called. And now the pressure comes, and dancing down the right side is the number 9, Ho Yun Biola, and the cross can't come in. So Australia doing well to cover up the space and giving some pressure there. And Kylie Ledbrook back to clean it up. She might get another bite in a minute as Zhou Yunmi stands on the ball, and the distribution, well, that's pretty good from DPR Korea, but Australia with numbers in the middle, and now the clearance comes away to Sarah Walsh.
Australia just needs to get the ball and settle down here. The pace of this game is unbelievably quick. It is wet and slippery out here. They just need to get the ball, hold on to it for a little while, and get in control of the game.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's one of the aims.
Exactly. Look, again, like I said, Korea are going to try and control the pace of the game. We've got a little bit of possession now. We need to keep it. When we win that ball back from them, it's so important to keep possession. It allows us to get our shape back, get our composure, and then build an attack.
And Lisa Devaney, you could see her trying to feint and fox the opposition, but they were awake to her manoeuvre there. But an errant pass. And Sarah Walsh, who's had a terrible time with knee injuries and broken leg. It's good to see her back playing some game time. She scored a couple of goals against New Zealand in the recent series, where the Matildas won both matches. And now this midfield battle here, and both teams not playing grand possession football at this stage. But DPR Korea here trying to find some composure. Kim Eun-so on the ball. And wide it goes to Kim Chung-sing. And well, that's pretty loose. I'm sure the Korean coach would not be happy with that.
Yeah, she was just forced into something there. But, you know, good tracking back from Claire Polkinghorne. And also Katie Gill was actually dragged back from her forward position to close down their defensive midfielder. So, again, Aussies need to look to win this ball, win the battle in midfield and get it down and start playing. Get the ball into the feet of Lisa and Walshy.
I think you will see Katie Gill tracking back a little bit into the midfield today just to help out with the height back there.
The good nod on from Claire Polkinghorne. It's going to come back to Lauren Colthorpe. Looking for some control. It's gone out of play. A throw into the team in red, and some gesticulating there from Kim Kwong-min, the coach of the team, training. It's a very serious occasion. There is no talk at training. The players accept the voice of authority and move on. There's no light banter around the edges. Absolutely deadly serious business in football. Australia in a clustered midfield now as DPR Korea try to extricate themselves via the square ball from Zhou Yunmi, and out wider still. But Australia doing well, and pressure coming from Katie Gill, tracking back to provide a little bit of assistance.
Yeah, Katie's just got to sit in front of Colette in the central midfield there just to ensure. Well, she's won that ball fantastically here.
And room to burn as Vanna tries to make some ground at the far post. The ball not really well directed, trying to find Katie Gill, but she was a little bit off balance. The defender there for the interception. Perhaps a little bit more could have been made of that.
Look, I would have liked to have seen Walshy take another touch and actually even get to the byline and then look to cut the ball back. Gives the Australian players a little bit more time to support her as well. She only had Gill and Devanna up front.
Well, they try and work the left side again. It's an Australian team now pressing forward hard, and Polkinghorne won't be happy with that pass. And the Korean team, DPR Korea team, with a terrific record. 3 Asian Championships, 2001, 2003 and 2008. That is fantastic stuff, and they made the quarterfinals of the 2007 World Cup, the occasion where the Australian team, the Matildas, performed so admirably. But now it's a time for consolidation for both teams.
Yeah, both teams are in a little bit of a rebuilding phase, so with a few new faces, but they've both got to pick up quickly where they've left off from the World Cup and try and, you know, qualify for the World Cup next year.
And we see a yellow card handed out there for a second infringement on Lisa Devanna. The defender there just not being able to keep up with her pace and fancy footwork, and has been handed a yellow card.
Well, it was a bit needless, this one. Devanna had let the ball go, too much weight on the ball, so the DPR Korean defence had it covered.
Yeah, again, but, you know, Lisa with the ball at her feet, people just can't compete with her pace, and she keeps it in such close control that it makes it very difficult, and giving away a foul is a better option.
Now the Glasgow-born Colette McCallum stands on the ball, and the height pours into the box. Katie Gill, look at the scragging for possession. Gill goes up, oh, there ball, and it's sprayed wide by Colthorpe. She had a moment, but you can see that height, how troubling it is. Early in the year, in February, the DPR Korean team were beaten by Germany in Duisburg 3-0, all headed goals.
Yeah, you can see here, and you can see all the players, you know, jockeying for position. There's hands all over the place. You can just see the desperation of the Korean players to not let the Australians get their head on the ball.
And the pleas of Katie Gill went unheard, but deserved. She was being pulled down in the box there.
Yes, there was no quarter there. That's why I get confused when they call these matches friendlies. Never when you go out and put the Guernsey on for your country.
Never a friendly.
No such thing.
Never a friendly.
Well, Australia now, they've had a shaky first couple of minutes, but they seem to have a measure of composure at the moment, although the ball not with them, but Thea Slatcher, part-time bodyguard, part-time disc jockey, clears it away. And now Kylie Ledbrook with a beautiful ball to Sarah Walsh. Devanna, will it get through to her? Almost. Some desperate defending back there for Ralin Sim.
That's something that the Australians wanted to work on, was their transition from winning the ball in their defensive third to getting it into the attack, and they've done that really quickly there.
Yeah, I'd just like to see them get a few more players up in support with Sarah up there. You know, she only had one option in Lisa to play the ball to, so our midfielders really need to work hard to try and get on the edge of the box.
And almost a measure of that, they've moved up to pressure the Koreans in the transition too, and Devanna with that pirouette, magnificent, and the layoff, good thinking there from Katie Gill, and that's attractive play.
Katie Gill and Lisa Devanna have such a fantastic understanding between each other. They've played together for many years, and it's a really good combination.
Kim Carroll forced to do a bit of running back and heavy defending against the pacey opponent. Always tough when you're coming back from a knee injury to really get that extra yard of pace.
Yeah, look, Kim's lucky. She's actually deceivingly quick. She's quite a tall girl, so she takes a little bit to get going. But once she actually gets the motors on, she's pretty quick.
It will be interesting to see how the central defence handles this quick pace today and how long they can hold on for.
A scruffy ball poked in by Ho Hyun Bill, the 18-year-old.
You have both your central defenders either coming off a long time away from the game or coming back from injury. So much experience might be a bit questionable.
Yes, and their time on the park today will be interesting too. They might be given 50 or 60 minutes. We'll see how they hold up.
Yeah, look, I think both players, any player would want to play the whole game. But it's an international, and you really do have to think of what's the best for the team. So if they're looking a bit tired and they're starting to look a little bit susceptible at the back, I'm sure Tommy will make that change, get some fresh legs on.
And the Matildas favoured by the bounce of the ball. There wasn't too much aggression in challenging, but they don't pay any sort of price. So Lauren Colthorpe feeds a ball to Gill, and looking for the quick release too. Again, the idea pretty good.
That's a beautiful run by Devanna. If that ball had just made it through, she was on her way to goal.
And now a chase back again for Kim Carroll, who's putting in the metres in the early part, and the quick release looking to come from Yun Hun Hee.
Yeah, it's a pretty open game to begin with. Both teams are up and down, trying to, as we say, we've spoken about that transition.
And now the ball, that square ball, right on the edge of the box. Negotiated well by the Matildas and Walsh. Plenty of time to survey the open country downfield. She's closed down, but that might present some space elsewhere. And the speculative ball downfield from Colthorpe doesn't pay off. We can see the tenacious battle in the middle of the park from both teams.
Yeah, Ledbrook's gone in well there. Unfortunately, she didn't win it, but, you know, that's such a key component of the game as well. Winning those 50-50 balls, getting back possession, and then starting the play again.
Kellon Knight playing in her 10th international for her country, and she looks to be quite composed.
Yeah, Elise has actually only recently become a left back. She's played central midfield up front, but obviously she's got great engines and can really go at players, and I think that's where Tommy's looking at her at that position, similar to what Heather Garriock is like, very attacking-minded fullback.
And Ish, how much are they going to miss Heather Garriock today?
Yeah, look, Heather's experience is difficult to replace, you know. She's been around for so long. Her work rate, her ethic, you know, talking to players on the field. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of other players that can step up into those, into those roles and start making a name for themselves as well.
Now, Melissa Barbieri, who's kept 29 clean sheets across her career, including one against the DPR career time. She'd love one today in this theatre of the prelude to the Asian Cup and potential qualification for the World Cup.
Yeah, any goals conceded by Barbieri means that she's getting a hard time from the goalkeeping coach, Paul Jones. So that's always motivation enough for Bubs to keep the goals out.
Kim Runzo, the 16-year-old, with the release, but nothing going on at the moment for DPR career, and some good close-down work coming from the Matildas. They're really squeezing them as per the coach's orders. Just an errant moment from Colthorpe, but Slatcher there to clean it up. In any case, the referee, Sarah Hodson, says we'll have a free kick.
Yeah, it's still very, very tight in possession for both teams, The intensity's still been maintained for the first 15 minutes of the game. Neither team, I don't think, has really settled into their rhythm, but I think we'll see that as the game starts to open up a little bit and both teams know what the other are trying to do.
Colthorpe, 4 brothers and a sister. Plenty of football in the backyard for the tenacious right back. Coming from the Newcastle region, and we see a measure of that tenacity there, just spearing in to make the interception.
Yeah, Lauren Colthorpe, another, utility type play. You really can play her anywhere, and she's just very adaptable. Generally played central midfielder for the Queensland Roar this year, but quite easily slots in at right back for the Matildas.
Thea Slatcher not happy with her clearance, but she was under a little bit of pressure. And a touch off balance too, trying to get some game time up again to really get in shape for the campaign ahead. Now Ledbrook, Kellon Knights, and Devanna trying to give her an option downfield. But not a good transition on that occasion from the Matildas.
No, Lisa just checked back to get the little short ball from Kellon Knight there, but I'd just like to see those two players haven't played too much together, so they've got to get a little bit more familiar with how each other's game is. I would like to see Kellon Knight start to get forward a little bit more, overlapping runs and start getting balls into the box.
And taking the difficult option rather than the easy one is Thea Slatcher. And the Australians just knotting themselves up a little bit. And now they might be under a little bit of pressure. No, control eluding the number 10, the star, the captain of this DPR Korean team. And now Polkinghorne can release with a beautiful 1-2 from Walsh. Walsh again trying to pace forward. Devanna gets on the outside of her opponent, and a beautiful back heel, but away to it was Kwon Yong-son. And DPR Korea forced to track back under pressure. Good play from both teams.
Yeah, fantastic play from Polkinghorne and Walsh. A little 1-2 in the midfield there, and with the pace of Devanna getting in behind, they need to keep pumping that at Korea all day because they're going to struggle with it. Again, just need to see a little bit more support for the strikers once the ball does get up there, just so Australia have more numbers around the ball to keep possession.
And loose ball, and it's come at the feet of Yon Hon Hee, and a little chip forward, no offside. It's escaped on, and a great defensive raid back from Colthorpe. She saved the day. Zhou Yun-mi was about to unload, and she is speared in.
Colthorpe should have just let that player run there. The player in the centre of the park was offside, as you can see. Player running down through the centre would also run into an offside position, and in fact, to me, looked offside.
Yeah, it was definitely a close one, but I must admit, I do appreciate that the assistant referee let the game play, because I believe it is the attacking player that should get the advantage. But, in all fairness, Lauren Colthorpe, desperation tackle, needed to make it, otherwise that would have been 1-0.
Those words would only come from a striker, Alicia.
Of course they would, Amy. That's what we love to do.
Well, Zhou Yun-mi has scored
striker.
17 times in 36 internationals. She won't be happy with the work there, but she might get another bite now. As DPR Korea go on the attack, that was somewhat telegraphed, and Lisa Devanna goes back to pressure. Little 1-2 offside.
And you could hear Melissa Barbieri screaming out, out, out to her defenders there to get out and get up and leave the players offside, and they've achieved that.
Now 18 minutes gone, no score, but an entertaining match. Good to have your company around Australia here this international and the offside. Yes, clearly offside. It's one that you want to get right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And as Amy said, Barbieri was telling her players to get off the line and get out, and that had the desired effect.
Nothing in this match so far, but I'm inclined to go with you a little bit, Alicia. I think that was one to let go from the assistant referee, and they almost made it count. But good scrambling defence from the Australians as now Sarah Walsh got the battle here for possession and just lays it off nicely to Colthorpe. Did that pass blind. Polkinghorne did well to get a boot to it. And again, some pressure from Slatcher now as the Australians look to build in the middle of the park. Plenty of red jerseys back, though.
Yeah, well one back there by Thea in the back line.
Now, a little scampering run coming in from Elise Kellon-Knights. Unfortunately, to no avail. And Colette McCallum with an errant pass as well. Kim Monzo now on the ball, and the release out wide. And these are the moments when Australia needs to get back and compose themselves. One of the main aims for the day. Defensive structure under pressure after losing the ball from the coach, Tom Samani. A little chip in again to Zoe, and the layoff. Now the cross ball here, promising from DPR Korea. Ball to the far post at Barbieri. Leaps high, uncontested. The build-up didn't match the finish, or the finish didn't match the build-up.
Yeah, look, not a great cross into the box, but just in that lead-up play, there was a couple of DPR Korea players free in the box, so I think Slatcher and Kim Carroll really need to get that communication sorted so someone's picking up when they're getting into wide areas.
And a couple of long balls haven't paid off now, and Colthorpe, a good turn, awake to that. Scampers away from the 19-year-old Kim Chung Sim. A lot of the DPR Korean girls, they're picked out of school. Schoolwork gets put on the side. It's soccer, soccer, soccer. Then they head to university or a club first, then to university if they're showing technical skills. Oh, there looked to be a handball. Handball. Kwon Zong Son there just stuck the hand out and pumped it onto the ground. But sadly not picked up by the officials.
Well, the visibility has dropped a little bit here. The rain is now coming down, so perhaps that was the problem.
Are you getting wet down there, Amy?
I've got a lovely jacket on and an umbrella here. I'll survive.
Now, first good bit of possession football for some time for DPR Korea. Colette McCallum, though, she seems to have plenty of time on the ball, and the release to Kellon-Knight down the left, and Davana now. Is she going to give her an option? Kellon-Knight there showing all the confidence. Beautiful skills, goes again, and just lets it escape the bootlaces. But still numbers for Australia, and something. Is it coming here in the centre? Well, they're trying to get that high ball there to Katie Gill, and Sarah Walsh is having a good game out on the right too, and perhaps she'll be utilised a little more as a rueful shake of the head from Davana. Sarah Walsh.
Yeah, it's a game where our two strikers are going to get a little bit of space out wide. Kellon-Knight made a fantastic run down the left there, really going at the Korean players. Lisa Davana made a run out wide for her. Probably would have liked to have seen her stay in a little bit more towards the 18-yard box and give Kellon-Knight that space to just take on her player and get across into the box.
A good cluster from the midfield for the Matildas, trying to close down that breakout from DPR Korea. And I'd say on the balance of it, tactically, the Australians winning out on the day so far, but perhaps a little more possession football in the final third, a little more composure.
Yeah.
As we see McCallum release away to Slatcher.
Yeah, look, we're starting to pick up a little bit more possession now, settle into the game a little bit more. Now what we've got to do is start turning that possession into opportunities in the final third. As I said, I think our midfielders still need to get up a little bit quicker and support our strikers when they're going forward.
Well, great charge forward from McCallum, and Polkinghorne unload. Oh, she has a shot too. The long strides were burrowing towards goal. As she looks at the ground, a little disappointed because that was a moment.
That's the stuff that she loves. Look, she plays in defence a lot of the time as a wing-back and just comes forward constantly. She's been given the opportunity in the midfield today, which will allow her to get in the box. She'll be disappointed by the shot, but don't be surprised if that's not the only one you see today.
Well, 21st birthday, and she scored a couple of times. And
She has. And look, you're in that position, you need to take the shot. She had another option. Katie Gill had peeled out wide, which she may have been able to slip the ball in. But hey, any player, if they're in that position on the edge of the box, going to have a shot.
And again, some good pressure from the Matildas, and Polkinghorne barely has the chance to suck in the big air. Has to go again now. Support coming from Colthorpe. Walsh available, and now Katie Gill has to put on the spurt. And DPR Korea. Well,